There are a lot of things that you give up when you're diagnosed with a disease like pulmonary fibrosis. I was an avid motorcycle rider for almost 30 years. I rode a Harley-Davidson Sportster, and I had to give it up because I would get sleepy while I was driving. I say I went from a 1200cc V-twin to a 3000cc human-powered machine. My name is Andy Bavaria, and I received a double lung transplant at Penn Medicine. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis is very rare. There are not a whole lot of cases in the United States each year, and it's more or less considered an orphan disease.
Pulmonary fibrosis is a lung condition where you get too much scarring inside the lungs, and if you have too much scar in the lungs, oxygen can't get from the air into your blood, and so you get more and more short of breath.
Initially, you wake up with splitting headaches, your mobility is impaired, you can't go up steps without oxygen, you can't walk, you can't talk, so it becomes really a limit on your lifestyle.
Can you give me a deep breath and a cough? In addition to having pulmonary fibrosis, he also had aortic regurgitation, and that's a condition that long-term can cause heart failure and also be life-threatening.
As the surgeon said to me in the operating room, that's a showstopper. You can't get the transplant unless you take care of this problem.
And what I remember is Andrew was just such an incredibly determined person. He underwent surgery with Dr. Bavaria in our cardiac surgery department and did unbelievably well. Even though he had pulmonary fibrosis, he got off the ventilator very quickly after surgery. He committed himself to an aggressive diet and exercise program and really got himself fit enough to be a lung transplant candidate.
Once you're on the transplant list, it becomes a waiting game, waiting for the donor, managing your health, trying not to become any sicker than you already are, trying to slow down the progression to give you more time for that call to come. I was on a teleconference with my team at work, and my cell phone rang. I picked it up, and the question was, "We've identified a donor, how quickly can you be here?" So I texted my boss and said, "I got the call." He answered with one word, "Go." So I got in the car and headed for Penn. I live about 1.5 hours away, and that was probably the longest hour and a half of my life. Eventually I got to Penn, and the amazing thing was they knew I was coming. I got fast-tracked through the admissions process. I looked at my wife and I said, "Look, I'll see you in a couple of hours when I wake up," and thumbs up, and off we went. Shortly after you wake up, the doctors come and see you, and I heard some really great words from Dr. Cantu, who was the surgeon. He said, "You look great." That's where the real journey begins, the recovery part of it. In all, I was there for 19 days. When you're lying in bed recovering from the surgery, you have a lot of time to think. And I decided I wanted to reward myself and give a thank you to my donor and the doctors by showing what I could do with this tremendous gift that I was given. So I said, I'm going to buy myself a bicycle. The first day I went out, I rode about a half a mile on the street outside my house, and that was the best I could do. The next time I went out, I doubled that, and before I knew it, I was riding 10 miles, 20 miles, and then I set a goal of 25 miles, and I blew that out with a 33-mile ride. So now I have a new goal, so I'm going to call it Home to Hup, and I'm going to ride from the front door of my house to the front door of Penn, which is about 39 miles.
Now that he's got these new lungs and he's able to breathe well and exercise without major limitations, he's really embraced bicycling, and the fact that he's able to do this after just undergoing a lung transplant, I think is wonderful and remarkable.
It's been 7 months since the transplant, and I feel fantastic. I think one of the best things that happened to me during this entire process was I was with Penn Medicine for the entire journey, from the beginning all the way until the end. My primary, my local pulmonologist, the local hospital, the entire Penn team, the doctors, the nurses, everybody was absolutely top-notch. This is going to sound a little bit crazy, but Penn feels like home to me. Maybe it's because, in some respects, the staff of Penn have become part of my extended family, and they do follow you for the rest of your life. Hopefully a long life. For more stories like mine, subscribe to Penn Medicine's YouTube channel.